I'm Tim Kearns, and this is the Thanksgiving Day version of Panther Preview with Beverly football head coach Jeff Hutton. Jeff, weather's kind of bad out there today, but it's supposed to be sunny tomorrow.
50 on Thanksgiving. You can't beat it, can you?
You know, today's more reflective of your season. Tomorrow, hopefully, it's reflective of what's coming in the next year.
Yeah, I think our young guys have. It's taken us a while, obviously, but our last 3 weeks we've had our best offensive games. I think we've competed pretty well and consistently on the defensive side. I mean, we just haven't had enough guys in the lineup, some of those older guys, but the young kids are starting to play with some confidence, understanding what they're supposed to be doing, and that's always huge. And I hope that pays off for us. And I think 2 years ago, my first year here, Salem was kind of in the same boat where they were starting a ton of sophomores, and I remember listening to some of the speeches at all those pre-Thanksgiving things, and the one thing that I did notice, and I feel that's a great thing that Coach Bouchard did, was he praised the kids' effort. And when your wins are hard to come by, you got to do something positive, and I would praise our kids' effort day in and day out.
One thing I did notice with the kids coming off the field is they came from the turf field. They came off as one group. And I thought that was so impressive because at this stage of the season, you could easily just begin to break off into little groups or just by yourself. But those guys came from the turf field to the back of school as one group, as a team.
Yeah, and I think that you just have to, attribute that to our great senior leadership, our captains, through thick and thin. And, Danny Conant was the only one of our captains that made it through the whole season unscathed. We lost Brendan McCarron in week 3. Brian Kessel's been out, and we're hoping he can get some playing time tomorrow. But those guys were still here. And what we did in the off season paid off for us. And they did come together, and they are playing as a team now.
Yeah, as you look back across the span of this particular season, injuries did play a critical role in the outcomes of several games.
Yeah, big time. And I think talking to a bunch of other coaches, everyone's had the injury bug, more so this year than in the past. And who knows why? It's just one of those years, and you hope it goes in cycles, and we don't see that cycle again for a while. But what happened to us was our starters got hurt, and because we have low numbers, those were also starters on defensive side and special teams guys. And then our backups started getting nicked up and dinged up because a lot of them were sophomores, and just some of them weren't physically ready,
right,
but they had to get in there. And I think now, some of these kids have got enough experience, and they're a little bit battle tested, and they're feeling a little confident. So that's where you want them to be at this point in the season.
And I think they've learned a lesson of where they've got to take themselves over the next off season to be ready to really put it together and play well next year.
Yeah, we talked about that in our off-season meetings. Is just because you played as a sophomore doesn't guarantee you're going to be playing as a junior, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be better if you just show up. I jokingly tell them that, when we're in a weight room, or you don't get better by osmosis, and 90% of them look at me cross-eyed because they have no idea what that word is.
Right.
So we got to talk to our science teachers here. But, they get it. In our meetings and talking, they're willing and they're ready to take that next step. So that bodes well for us and hopefully our future as well.
All right, let's take a quick look at tomorrow. Salem's coming in 8-2, heading to the Division 5 Super Bowl in a week. They remember
Division 6.
Division 6. God, there's so many divisions now.
I know.
Can't keep them straight. But with memory, they remember some butt kickings that they took from the Beverly Panthers on Thanksgiving Day when they weren't at their strongest, and Beverly was at its height. And now maybe those memories and kids coming back and saying, hey, listen, now it's your turn to turn the tables on them. So that's something you guys have got to be ready for, because they're going to be coming in hungry. They're going to be coming in with a real attitude, and attitude can take you a long way in a football game.
Of course it can. Kids playing fast and tough. It's high school football. Good things happen. And we're trying to preach to our young kids that you might be undersized, you might not be the best athlete, but if you play hard and you play fast and you play tough, you're always going to be in the game in high school football.
Prediction for tomorrow?
I think our kids will compete. I think you're going to see that You know, we're not going to let, if bad things happen, who cares, next play. That's been our mentality all along. I think last year that wasn't easy for us to come back from some things. And I think this team has dealt with some real adversity and built some resiliency. So I think that will show. And I think our guys, we're going to play the whole 48 minutes. We're going to be ready to go.
Coach, thanks for all your help this season, showing up every game before and after. I will talk to you again one more time after the game tomorrow with some of your players, and then we will meet next week and we'll do a Panther review looking back over the season.
Thanks a lot, Tim.
Okay.